So tonight we're going to be checking out Spicebomb Extreme by Viktor and Rolf. This is a fragrance that caught a lot of hype, a lot of attention when it first came out. A ton of people praise this scent quite often, saying it's one of the best winter fragrances, and I'm going to give you my full thoughts on that. And just so you know, I actually took off the little pin right here. You can see I took it off so that way it's not rattling around throughout the whole video and being very annoying. So I do want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Spicebomb Extreme? I've had a lot of people request that I pick this one up and review it and feature it in videos, and now that I've got a bottle, I'm ready to share with you my thoughts, but I do want to hear from you. And of course, I do appreciate you hitting the subscribe button as well, also turning on post notifications and giving this video a like. All of that stuff helps me out tremendously, and I really do appreciate it. So without further ado, let's go and jump into this one. So starting off with the opening of Spicebomb Extreme, what I get in the opening is cinnamon, cumin, and some tobacco. Now the cumin note, I will admit, is not going to be for everyone. That's going to put some people off. It comes across almost like dirty in a type of way. Not, it's not too overwhelming, but it is something that you do pick on. The cinnamon gives it a nice spicy, sweet, and warm feeling. Of course, you do get the tobacco in there, which smells great. But one thing that can kind of turn some people's nose up is the cumin note. Once you get past that, though, it turns really, really nice. You start to pick up on a lot of vanilla in this fragrance, and that's probably my favorite part, is nice warm vanilla. You get a little bit of a pepperiness as well. Overall, it smells incredible. It's warm, it's sweet, it's inviting, it's alluring. It's a great, great winter fragrance, and I do really see the appeal with this one. And it does still resemble the original Spicebomb EDT quite a bit. You can definitely tell that this is a Spicebomb flanker, mainly due to the spiciness that this fragrance has from the pepper and from the cinnamon. But where this one takes a turn is from that vanilla. This one goes more warm and sweet in the dry down, whereas Spicebomb Eau de Toilette, that one stays pretty spicy all the way through. That one's got more of a playful and kind of in-your-face smell, just kind of more of a projector as well. This one has kind of a laid-back type of smell, a little bit more of a mature and refined smell. So by no means is this a redundant purchase. You can own Spicebomb Eau de Toilette and then purchase this one, knowing that, there isn't really going to be too much clash there. What you wear Spicebomb EDT for can be completely different than what you wear this one for. The EDT I see as more of a night out partying type of fragrance, I guess is one way to put it. If you're going to a bar, if you're going to a party, if you're going to some sort of an event or something like that, even in the daytime as well, an outdoor event or something where you want projection and you just kind of want something that's playful, Spicebomb EDT is going to be the one that you want to go with. However, Extreme kind of goes in the opposite direction. This one's more laid back. This is when you want something that is just a little bit more reserved and doesn't come across super in your face, and it's really just a little bit more refined. What I like so much about this one is that it is a great balance. This would be like a great date night scent if you wanted it to be, and what I like so much is that you can wear the Spicebomb EDT during the daytime, and then once night starts to come around, you can spray this one on over top. And of course, they're going to mesh perfectly. And then what you'll get is the nice warm vanilla from this fragrance, which is what makes it stand out. And that just makes it much more seductive as you kind of get into the evening. So you can definitely layer the two together if you're into that sort of thing, and it's going to work out great. So in a way, you kind of have all of your bases covered with Spicebomb Extreme and Spicebomb Eau de Toilette. And another plus side to Spicebomb Extreme is that it's a little bit updated. Of course, we know that the Eau de Toilette is a popular fragrance. It's been out for a while now. A lot of people wore it when it first came out, and a lot of people still do wear it. It is going to be more popular. It is kind of thrown into the generic crowd when people talk about designer fragrances that are very popular and generic. Spicebomb typically kind of gets lumped into that group. And that's not a bad thing, and the reason why it's like that is because this DNA is a great DNA and it works really well. But if you do want to stand out a little bit more and not, be wearing something that a lot of other people wear, and you still want to stick with that DNA, you can go with Extreme. Like I said, it's a little bit more updated, and it does take a different twist on the EDT. And in a way, you almost kind of can see it as more of a mature version of the EDT. If you want something that isn't quite as loud and in your face and like abrasive and fun smelling, you want something that's going to be a little bit more warm, a little bit sweet, a little bit more mature, this one would be a great one to go with. And again, I do think it 100% has its uses over the Eau de Toilette. So let's go and talk about the performance of this one. Longevity on my skin has been really solid. I've been getting on average about 9 to 10 hours. And the EDT performs really great on my skin as well. I think they're kind of known for performing very good, and this one definitely holds up in the performance category in terms of longevity. It stays on my skin for quite a while, and on clothing, it's going to stay even longer than that. Projection-wise, this one does push out pretty far. Now, it's not as strong as the eau de toilette in terms of projection on my skin. Some people may get different performance from that, but for me, it doesn't quite project as much as the eau de toilette. Sits just a little bit closer, but is by no means a skin scent. It just still does push out there, and it still will get you noticed, but the eau de toilette still does push out more. That one can pretty much fill a room, kind of like, Versace Eros, Ultra Male. It kind of performs like those. This one's a little bit more moderate, but still is a good projector. And I like that this one is a little bit more reserved. Again, it has this warmth and this like refined type of smell to where you don't want it to push out too much. You kind of want it to, in a way, be discovered. And really what this one does is it shines in the scent trail that it leaves behind you. So if you hit yourself with 2 or 3, maybe 4 sprays, and you do 1 spray on the back of your neck, that's going to be leaving a great scent trail. And in the dry down, you're going to be leaving that nice vanilla, tobacco spiciness behind you as it goes, and that's really when it smells the best, is when you catch whiffs of it in the air. It still does smell great close up too, but there's something about the sillage of this fragrance that just smells incredible. In terms of when you can wear this fragrance, definitely a winter fragrance all the way through. You can wear it in fall as well, but I really do think this one shines in the winter time. In terms of situations, again, I almost see it as more of a date night type of fragrance, kind of like an evening wearing fragrance, but you can really do about anything with it. You can wear it during the day. You could potentially wear it to work if you wanted to, although I still think there are better options for work, and this one still may be just a little bit too loud and too spicy depending on what type of work environment you're in, so I would recommend you be careful there. I wouldn't necessarily wear this one to school either, although you could do that if you wanted to. I would say more of an evening fragrance, evenings out and things like that. But it does have a pretty good versatile factor, more so than the eau de toilette. So realistically here, you can do about anything with this scent in the wintertime. I'm just being somewhat picky, mostly just because I have a variety to choose from where, I can kind of fine tune my fragrance selections more. For a lot of you out there, this could be a great signature scent for winter, one that you wear for about anything. People with a more refined collection or just more fragrances in general, you can probably find better fragrances for different situations in the wintertime. So it is a great scent, and you can definitely get your money's worth out of it in the cold weather. And it's got that performance, both longevity and projection, to cut through the cold air easily. Now, everyone's favorite part, we'll talk about the mass appeal on this one. And this one is going to be a fragrance that will get you compliments, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I think it's hyped up so much, and really kind of the same with the eau de toilette. It's known to be a great compliment getter, and this one's going to be as well. In my opinion, this one may do better in the mass appeal department than the eau de toilette. It really kind of depends, but I do think that the warmth, the sweetness from the vanilla that this one has does kind of give it more of an edge, just because, again, it's a little bit more tame. It's a little bit easier on the nose in terms of it's not just a straight up spice bomb, literally, like the eau de toilette is. This one's a little bit more rounded out, a little bit more smooth, a little bit more mature and refined. It basically just kind of knocks the edges down on Sauvage Eau de Toilette is one way to think of it. Kind of like how I describe Dior Sauvage EDT versus EDP. The EDP is a bit more refined, kind of rounded out, takes some of the spiciness away, and in a way, that's kind of what Spicebomb Extreme is. So that's one way you can kind of look at it. Again, I do recommend you try this one for yourself and make your own conclusions there, but that's kind of how I look at it. A more refined version of the EDT that is going to be a little bit more wearable and have a little bit more mass appeal. As a vanilla lover myself, I love this fragrance a lot, and I do think it is a great scent for wintertime, and it is my preference over the eau de toilette. Now, do I think this is the best winter fragrance out there? Probably not. I do think that there are some better scents out there, in my opinion. However, that's not to say that this isn't a great fragrance, because it is. It's a great scent. This DNA, people will say that it is kind of overplayed or played out or whatever, and yeah, it is kind of played out, right? The Spicebomb EDT has been around a long time, but this flanker does a really good job at kind of updating it, reviving it a little bit, kind of putting their own modern twist on it, and I think they did a great job with this one. Is this going to top like Dior Homme Intense and some other heavy hitter winter fragrances for me? No, it's not, but it is going to get up there. I've already done my top 10 winter fragrances for this year, so obviously I couldn't make it in that list because I didn't own it yet. But I do think that this one will do pretty good in my top 10 winter fragrances for next winter because it is really nice. But I'm still probably going to be picking like Dior Homme Intense, Armani Code Absolu, Givenchy Gentleman EDP, Issey-Miyake Nuit Noir Argent, fragrances like that. Still probably going to be choosing over this one. However, this one still is a great fragrance. One other thing I want to touch on as well is the price of this one. This is not a cheap fragrance. Even at discounter websites, this one is still going to be running you about $100 or more. I believe I got my bottle from Fragrance X for like $106 or something like that. So it is going to be pricey, and I do personally think that there are better options out there, cheaper this one. I mean, this one is even more expensive than Dior Homme Intense. That's crazy. It's more expensive than one of the best, Dior fragrances out there, in my opinion, from their own line. That's quite a bit. It's more expensive than Armani Code Absolu. It's more expensive than all the other fragrances that I mentioned I would put before this one. So that is kind of the downside of this fragrance. And when you look at the price of this one compared to the scent itself, and also compared to a lot of other great winter fragrances out there, it is pretty high in price. And that's another reason why I don't think this is the best winter fragrance. It is a great fragrance, does get a lot of hype, and I don't fully think that it's all justified in saying it's the best thing ever. It's a pricey fragrance along with a lot of the other Spicebomb scents, so that's just one thing to keep in mind as well. When you can get Dior Homme Intense, which is a lot more unique and overall just has a lot better quality for cheaper than this one, that's pretty crazy. I don't want to seem like I'm ragging on this scent because I'm not. I've given it a very fair review and I love it, but that's just kind of something you'll want to think about for yourself. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That is my review on Spicebomb Extreme. Really, really solid scent. Again, main gripe is going to be the price. It is pretty expensive. If it was cheaper, then maybe I could recommend it more. And while I do recommend this scent, I do think that there are going to be some better bang for your buck winter fragrances out there. This is one of those situations where you're going to want to do your homework, do some sampling around, try some different things, and see if you want to spend the money on it. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Make sure you leave your comments down below what you think of Spicebomb Extreme. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow night with another one. Take care.